So do you also wish to write stories automatically? Then this video is definitely for you. So hello all, welcome back to Pabbly Connect, and in this video we are going to understand how to write stories using an AI agent using Google Sheets, OpenAI and Google Docs. So over here I'm running an educational institution and we used to manually write all these stories for our children. But this is such a time consuming and a tedious task. So to solve this problem, I've simply created this amazing automation where what is going to happen is that as soon as I add the story details into my spreadsheet, automatically my AI agent, which is OpenAI, is going to generate these stories, and further we can add that stories into our Google Docs and then Google Sheets. And to create this amazing automation, we have to create a connection between Google Sheets, OpenAI, which is our AI agent, Google Docs and then Google Sheets. And to create this connection without knowing any programming or coding language, we are going to use Pabbly Connect. It is an amazing automation software. So do you also want to create this amazing automation for your business? Then for that you have to come with me towards my screen. Welcome to my screen. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to write compelling stories using an AI agent. So you will enter your story inputs into your Google Sheets and the AI will generate full-length stories in Google Docs. For content creators or teachers looking to spark creativity, this automation will definitely help you. So let's start making stories smarter and faster. So to get started, I'm simply going to show you the power of this automation. For that, I'm just going to enter the story theme right over here. Then I'm just going to enter the age group. Then I'm just going to enter the main character, the supporting character, the settings and the desired length. And after entering all of these details, now my AI agent is going to generate me a story with the help of these details only. And then further, the story link would be added right over here in this spreadsheet. That too without any manual intervention. We just have to wait for a few seconds till my AI agent is generating the story, and after it is going to generate the story link would be added right over here in my spreadsheet only. So as you can see, the story link has been added right over here. So I'm simply going to open this story link right from here, and as you can see the full story right over here in my Google document. So as you can see that with the help of these details only, a full story has been created and added into my Google Doc, and then that Google document link has been added right over here into my spreadsheet. That too without any manual efforts. In real time, within seconds, the story was drafted and added right over here. Further, I can review this story and make changes right from here only. So as you can see that this is such an amazing automation, right? And if you also want to create this amazing automation, then for that you have to stick to this video till the end. So to do this, we simply have to open a new tab and we have to look for the landing page of Pabbly Connect. So to open the landing page of Pabbly Connect, I'm just going to go towards my browser and search for pabbly.com/connect. And as soon as we're going to search for pabbly.com/connect, yes, you can see that it is opening me the landing page of Pabbly Connect. And after coming over here towards the landing page of Pabbly Connect, over here you can see that we have got two options. One is sign in and the another one is sign up for free. So if you are a new user, you can click on this sign up for free and you are going to get 100 of stars free every month to explore the application. But over here I am an existing user, so I'm simply going to click on this sign in, and as soon as we are going to click on this sign in, it is opening all Pabbly apps, and over here you can see all the tools and applications offered by Pabbly. But in today's video we are going to use Pabbly Connect because we are connecting different applications. So I'm simply going to click on this access now right over here to access my Pabbly Connects account, and as soon as we're going to click on this access now, it is opening my dashboard. And to start with this automation, we simply have to click on this button which says create workflow, and now it is asking me for the workflow name and the folder I want to save the workflow in. So on my dashboard you can see that I have created multiple folders in which I save my workflows. So if you also want to create a new folder or a subfolder, you can click on this hyperlink given right over here which says learn more. Alright, so I'm just going to save my workflow in this folder which says automations, and I want to name my workflow as How to write stories using AI agent using Google Sheets, OpenAI and Google Docs. And now we are simply going to click on this button right over here which says create. And as soon as we're going to click on this create, it is opening the most important window of our automation, which is our workflow window. So this is the most important window because we have trigger and action in this. Trigger and actions are the two main principles on which our workflow is going to run. Trigger means when this happens and action means do this. So by this you can understand that the actions are response towards the commands given by our trigger, and that's the particular reason that we can have only a single trigger but multiple actions following the commands of our trigger in a particular workflow. And to get started, we are simply going to select our trigger application. So for my trigger application, I'm simply going to search for Google Sheets. So I'm just going to search for Google Sheets right over here, and as you can see the same, so we are simply going to select it. And now for the trigger event, I'm simply going to select it as new or updated spreadsheet row. And now it is giving me a webhook URL. So we are going to use this same webhook URL in order to create a connection between our Google Sheets and our Pabbly Connect's workflow. So what we're going to do is I'm simply going to copy this webhook URL, and then we have to follow this help text, and it is saying log into your Google Sheets account, create a new spreadsheet, and then navigate to the extensions and move on towards the add-ons option. Alright, so we are going to do the same. I'm just going to open the Google Sheets I want to create this automation for. And after opening this Google Sheets, we have to go towards this extensions, add-ons, and then towards this get add-ons. And after coming over here towards this get add-ons, we have to search for an extension right over here which is Pabbly Connect Webhooks. So I'm simply going to search for Pabbly Connect Webhooks right over here. And as you can see that over here it is going to open this. So if you haven't installed this extension, you are going to get the option of install right over here. I have already installed this extension, so it is giving me the option of uninstall, but you can directly install this extension right from here. And after installing this extension, you have to refresh your spreadsheet. It is a very important step to refresh the spreadsheet, otherwise you'll not be able to get Pabbly Connect Webhook option right over here in your extensions tab. Alright, so as you can see that I've simply refreshed my spreadsheet, and over here is the option of Pabbly Connect Webhooks. So we have to go towards this Pabbly Connect Webhooks and then towards this initial setup. And after coming over here towards this initial setup, I simply have to enter the webhook URL and the trigger column. Alright, so we are simply going to paste the URL which we copied from our workflow right over here. And now for the trigger column, I'm just going to enter my trigger column. So the trigger column will be your final data column on which if the data is added, the whole of that row will be sent towards your webhook URL. Alright, so I'm simply going to enter my trigger column right over here which says F. And as you can see that you have to enter your trigger column according to your own spreadsheet. I have entered it as F because I want that as soon as I add all of these details till F column, then only the details should be sent towards my webhook URL and the flow should get triggered. Alright, so that's why I've entered my trigger column as F. And after entering all of these details, we are simply going to click on this button which says submit. And yes, you can see setup configured successfully. So with this, we have successfully created a connection between our Google Sheets and our Pabbly Connect's workflow. And now it is saying waiting for a webhook response, and in the notes it is saying do a test submission / record. So in order to capture this webhook response, we have to do a test submission or record. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to open my spreadsheet, and we have to go towards this extension Pabbly Connect Webhooks, and over here you can see the button of send on event. So we simply have to switch on this button right from here which says send on event. It is a really important step to switch on this button right from here. Upon switching on this button, what is going to happen is that as soon as a new event is going to occur in the spreadsheet, automatically the details would be sent towards my webhook URL. Alright, so that is why it is a really important step to switch on this button which is send on event. And after switching on this button, I'm simply going to do the test submission. I'm just going to enter all of these details one by one. Alright, so first I'm simply going to enter the theme, then the age group, the main character, the supporting character, the settings, and in the end, I'm simply going to enter the desired length. And yes, over here you can see that with this, we have successfully did the test submission. And now I'm just going to open my workflow, and over here Pabbly is going to capture the response of our test submission. And yes, you can see that Pabbly has captured the response of our test submission. You can see all of the details details which we entered right over here. You can see the main character, the settings, the desired length, the age group, and the rest of the details. So yes, with this we have successfully completed our trigger step. And now what is going to happen is that as soon as I add the details of my stories right over here in my spreadsheet, automatically this workflow is going to get triggered. Alright, so we're going to move on further towards our action step. Now what I want to write stories using an AI agent. So for my action application, I'm simply going to select it as my AI agent, which is OpenAI. So I'm simply going to search for OpenAI, and as you can see the same, so we are simply going to select it right over here. Now it is asking me for the action event. So for the action event, I'm simply going to select it as ChatGPT. And after selecting this, I'm simply going to click on this connect. And now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your OpenAI account with your Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can simply click on this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me, click on add a new connection, and now it is asking me for the token. And to enter this token, we are simply going to follow the help text, and it is saying kindly visit your OpenAI API key page to get the API key that you need to enter here. Alright, so I'm simply going to go towards this OpenAI API key page to enter the API key which I need to enter here. And now we have to create an API key. For that, I'm just going to go towards this create new secret key, and now I'm just going to name my key. I want to name my key as stories right over here. So I'm just going to enter stories right over here, and I'm just going to select my project, and then I'm just going to click on this create secret key button. And after clicking on this create secret key button, it has successfully created me the API key. So I'm simply going to copy this API key, and then we are going to paste this right over here in our workflow. And after pasting this API key, we simply have to click on this button right over here which says save. And yes, with this we have successfully connected our OpenAI account with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. And now it is asking me to select the AI model. So here you can select any AI model according to your choice. I'm just going to select it as GPT-4. And now we are going to move on further. Over here it is asking me for the prompt. So over here for the prompt, I'm just going to enter the prompt with the help of which I'm just going to generate these stories. Alright, so I'm just going to enter my prompt as this, which is you are a children's story writer. Based on the provided input, write a creative and engaging fictional story. Over here you can see the instructions which I have given. Now I'm just going to move on forward. I'm just going to enter the details which we added right over here in my spreadsheet. So now I'm just going to enter the details, but we are not going to enter the details manually or by copy pasting it, but instead we are going to map it. So you must be wondering what is mapping. So mapping is a method by Pabbly which means inserting the data from the previous step. And as you know, our previous step was the trigger step where we selected Google Sheets as our trigger application. So we are simply going to map the details from the response of our trigger application only, and as soon as we're going to map these details, automatically my details will turn dynamic and change with every new response received. Alright, so I'm simply going to map the theme right over here. Then we're going to map the age group right over here. So I'm just going to look for age group and map it. We are going to move on further and map the main character. So I'm just going to search for it and map it. We are going to move on further. I'm just going to map the supporting character right over here. And now we are going to map these settings right over here. So as you can see, it is this. So I'm simply going to map it. Now I'm just going to map the desired length too. So I'm just going to search for it and map it. So as you can see that I've simply mapped all of these details. And after mapping all of these details, I'm simply going to click on this save and send test request. And as soon as we are going to click on this save and send test request, Pabbly is going to generate me, or you can say that my OpenAI is going to generate me a story based on the details which I have entered right over here. So we only have to wait for a few seconds, and yes, you can see that we have received the response. And over here in the message content, you can see the story generated. So you can see that over here the story is generated on the basis of the instructions and the input we gave. And yes, now I'm just going to add this story into my Google document. For that, I'm just going to add another action step right over here. And now for the action application, I'm simply going to select it as Google Docs. So I'm just going to search for it and select it right over here. And now for the action action event, I'm simply going to select it as create a blank document and click on this button which says connect. And now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your Google Docs account with your Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can simply click on this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me, click on add a new connection, and now we have to click on this blue button which says sign in with Google. And as soon as we are going to click on this blue button which says sign in with Google, over here you can see that I'm just going to select my Gmail account, with the help of which I have to connect my Google document account with my Pabbly Connect's workflow. For that, I'm simply going to select the Gmail account, and after selecting my Gmail account, Pabbly is asking me for some permissions. So I'm simply going to click on this allow and give Pabbly all the permissions it is asking for, because my data is secure with Pabbly. So you can also click on this allow. Pabbly is safe, and as soon as we're going to click on this allow, yes, you can see that with this we have successfully connected our Google Docs account with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. So over here it is asking me for the document name. So I'm simply going to enter the document name which was the main character of my story, which is Tom the Turtle, right over here. Alright, so I'm simply going to map the same and click on this save and send test request. And yes, with this we have successfully created a blank document with this document name. Now what we want is, I want to add the details which my AI agent generated, which is the story, into this blank document, right? So for that, I'm just going to add another action step right over here. And once again, for the action application, we are simply going to select it as Google Docs. And now for the action event, I'm simply going to select it as append a paragraph to a document, which is inserting a paragraph to a document. And then we simply have to click on this connect. And recently we connected our Google Docs account with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. So I'm simply going to click on this select existing connection and then save. And as soon as we're going to click on this save, it is asking me for the document in which I want to add this paragraph. So over here, I'm not going to select the document manually, but instead we are going to map it. So for that, I'm simply going to switch on this mapping button and map the document ID right over here. So I'm simply going to search for document ID right over here in the response of my previous step. And as you can see, the document ID. So we are simply going to map it. And as soon as we are going to map this document ID, this field has turned dynamic. Now we're going to move on further and insert the text in this document, which is the story which my OpenAI generated. So I'm simply going to copy paste it right over here. And after doing this, I'm simply going to click on this button which says save and send test request. And yes, we have received a positive response. So I'm just going to open my Google Docs, and over here you can see a document has been generated. And I'm just going to open the document so you can see the story has been added right over here into this document. And now I want to add the link of this document into my spreadsheet, right? So to do this, what we're going to do is, I'm just going to open my workflow once again. I'm just going to add another action step. And now I'm just going to add this document link right over here in my spreadsheet. But to add that link, first we have to make that link a shareable one. For that, I'm just going to look for Google Drive in my action application and select it, because first I'm just going to make this document a shareable one. For that, for the action event, I'm just going to select it as share a file with anyone and click on this button which says connect. And now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your Google Drive account with your Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can simply click on this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to go towards this add a new connection, and then you have to click on this blue button which says sign in with Google. Once again, you have to give Pabbly all the permissions it is asking for, and then your Google Drive account would be connected. Alright, I have already connected my Google Drive account, so I'm simply going to go towards this select existing connection and then save. And as soon as we are going to click on this save, yes, you can see that with this we have successfully connected our Google Drive account with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. And now it is asking me for the file ID. So here for the file ID, we are not going to select it manually. Once again, I'm just going to map it. So I'm just going to switch on this mapping button, and we are going to enter the document ID right over here. And as soon as we're going to do this, once again, we have successfully made this field a dynamic one. And now I'm simply going to click on this save and send test request. And yes, you can see that with this we have successfully received the response. And over here you can see that we have received this web view link. So this is the link which we are going to add right over here in our spreadsheet. And to add this link, once again, I'm just going to add another action step. Select the action application as Google Sheets. So I'm just going to select it. And now for the action event, we simply have to select it as update cell value. value because I want to update the cell value and add the document link in that cell value. And then we simply have to click on this connect. Alright, so I recently connected my Google Sheets account. So I'm simply going to go towards this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to go towards this add a new connection. Once again, you have to select your Gmail account and give Pabbly all the permissions by clicking on allow. I have already connected. I'm just going to go towards this select existing connection and then save. And yes, with this, we have successfully connected our Google Sheets, and now it is asking me to select the spreadsheet in which I want to update the cell value. So as you can see, the name of my spreadsheet is story generator. So I'm simply going to select the same spreadsheet, which is story generator, and then we have to select the sheet, which is sheet 1. So I'm just going to select the same, and now it is asking me to enter the range of the sheet that needs to be updated over here. So over here, for that, we have to enter the column name plus the row index. So as you can see, the column name which needs to be updated is G and the row index is 4. So over here, I have to enter G4 in my workflow, but I'm not going to enter it manually like this, but instead we are going to map it. So over here, you can see that if I'm going to add another response, the next update cell value would be G5, then G6, G7, G8, and so on. So with the help of every new response added, this G is constant, but the row is changing, right? So what we are going to do is, I'm just going to enter this G as manually like this by typing it, but we are going to map the row index so that it can change with every new response received. So I'm simply going to search for row index in the response of my previous step and map it. And now it is asking me to enter the value which needs to be updated in this range. So over here, I'm just going to add the web view link which we received from the Google Drive. So I'm simply going to map it. And after mapping this, we are simply going to click on this save and send test request. And as soon as we're going to do so, yes, with this, we have received the positive response that I have successfully added the link into my Google spreadsheet. So I'm just going to open it, and over here you can see the link has been added, and over here you can see that this is the same document right over here in which we added our story generated through AI. So yes, with this we have successfully completed this workflow, and now whenever I'm just going to add the input, which is the story details right over here in my spreadsheet, within seconds in real time, like I showed you in the real time example, automatically the story link would be added right over here without any manual efforts. The story would be generated with the help of OpenAI, which is our AI agent. Further, a blank document would be created in Google Docs, and then the story would be added into that document. Then the file would be made a shareable one, and that link would be added right over here in my spreadsheet. And all of this is going to happen in backend. We don't have to come back and again to our workflow to click on save and send test request. We just have to sit back and relax. So yes, this was it for the video, and if you have any questions related to the video or the workflow, you can directly comment on this video. And for your reference, I'll just clone this workflow and share the workflow link in the description box so that you can access my workflow. See you in the next video with many more automation tips. Till go and try this amazing automation for your own business. Thank you for watching, everyone. So not only these applications, but with the help of Pabbly Connect, you can integrate many more applications. So if you have any doubts, you can reach us at support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can reach us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, you can follow this website. And if you find our videos helpful, do like and subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching.